UFC Hamburg is happening, and Joe Silva's taking an early holiday.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live from the Isle of Man in the UK. This is John and Mike's MMA Corner.
All right, before we get to UFC Hamburg, you've got myself, John, and I'm joined again always by Mike. Give everyone a shout out, Mike.
Hello, everyone. How we doing? Hello.
I don't know why you're looking up above there, Mike. Look forward. Okay, now we're going to get into UFC Hamburg shortly, but before all that, we want to quickly mention news that broke out was Joe Silva, UFC matchmaker Joe Silva, who is a staple in the company, has announced that he is going to be leaving the company. It's going to be before the end of the year. He hasn't. There's no date set. He's going to be leaving before the end of the year. This whole new takeover has come about, and I tell you what, fair enough. Kudos. He wants to take the money and ride off into the sunset and live his life. But for the UFC, I think as a man who really made a difference in the company, I have nothing but praise for this guy. But he also, at the same time, people think, is it a good thing that he's gone or bad thing in the sense of what's going to happen? The sport at this point, I think there's a lot of guys out there who are that knowledgeable in the sport that can not necessarily take his place, but you can maybe get someone in who would have the knowledge base to know what to do. Especially, someone like Ian Dean from Cage Warriors. I tweeted out that he would be an ideal guy as maybe as an advisory position. Maybe if he wanted to offer, some assistance in that way. It's not the end of the world, because if he had left maybe 5-8 years ago, it might have made a bit of a dent. But the knowledge of people these days, it's thankfully there's a bit of a cushion for them.
Yeah, it's a shame, because I always love seeing him around the events. If you ever go to a UFC live show, you will see him, and he does stop to shake hands, etc. And he's a very good people person. On the behind the scenes stuff, he obviously does a lot of things right, because he makes a lot of these great fights happen. Okay, he can't make it great, but he can at least put them together and say, look, I think these two worked well. It's a shame. I believe Sean Shelby is going to take over, and they're going to then try and introduce somebody to take over maybe what Sean Shelby will leave behind he does below lightweights and all the female fights. So he'll go up to lightweights and above, I believe it is, which is what Joe Silva was doing.
Yeah,
I'm sure he'll work. Yeah, the knowledge is, let's be honest, it's with the big fights, it's a no-brainer, because we all sit there and we say, oh, we'd love to see this person against this person. For the big matches, that's not a hard one. It's all these small matches, these prelims and things like that go together and they work fantastic. They're the ones, because sometimes we don't know someone, like they might be their first fight in the UFC and they're fighting out of a small gym in Sweden or something, and we don't know an awful lot about them. He's gone out there and found them and thrown them together.
Finding those little diamonds as well. That's the other bit about it, is having an eye for talent, and also not getting the can crushers into the sport.
Yeah. Reading between the lines and getting it right, and more often than not, he gets it right.
He does get it. But the thing is, what he's done, the foundations. We spoke with Cutman Stitch, Stitch Duran last week. He had a load of guys who were kind of like a core group of people. He is certainly one of those names to throw in the hat that has been not there since the start, but he's part of this. Kind of part of the foundations of what helped build that promotion, what helped brought it up, and what it is made it today. I've got nothing but good words for that man. I thank him very much for his
exactly. Yeah, if it was somebody that wasn't as keen on his job, UFC would have still succeeded and all the rest of it, but it just wouldn't have been as good, So thank you, Mr. Joe Silva.
That's huge news. Huge, because you think, who's going to step in? What are you going to do? I wouldn't mind seeing them possibly get someone else in, maybe 2 people in, split that up a little bit more, the weight classes, so then you get your matchmakers have a lot more time to focus on a smaller group of weight classes.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
Myself, I think if you had 3 guys, you could do from 170 up, then 155 to maybe 135. Then you can maybe or 145. So just I don't know how you could break it up more, but you can maybe because let's be honest.
Yeah, the UFC is so much bigger now, and MMA in general is so much bigger. So there's so many more fighters around the world just to have a look at. Because don't forget, we're only seeing the ones that get to the UFC. You're not seeing all the ones that are on the small shows in the back of beyond, in the local circuit that don't quite make it, or they've got their eye on, and maybe they're saying, look, maybe this time next year, that kind of thing. So it is a busy job, and it's an important job because it's part of the ingredients. You don't get the ingredients right, you can't make a good cake,
Well, Mike, we're going to go to UFC Hamburg. The card is happening. They're going there. There's been a lot of changes on the card. It actually has had 7 changes on the card, right? So it's taken, to be fair, for a fight card, it's taken quite a few altercations.
Yeah, it's had its own knocks and that already, hasn't it?
Considering that it's had 7 changes, I then look at it and go, it's actually not that bad of a card. If it hadn't had those 7 changes, I'd probably think it's an okay card. But the fact that it's been battered with changes, do you know what? Kudos to it for what it is. It's actually not too bad. Look, Mike, let's start at the bottom, and we'll work our way up through the card. Let's see what kind of matchups are tickling your fancy to start with, and we'll go from there.
Okay, right. It's the second fight in, and to be honest with you, this could be anywhere on the card virtually. This could be on the main card. Scott Askren against Jack Hermansson. Mm-hmm. This is, Jack is very familiar to British viewers, on the Cage Warrior circuit, seriously fight, you've got 2 guys here that aren't scared to fight, really good at what they do, and this is, straight away I'll say this is a potential fight of the night, this one.
Right, they are. So you had Jack Hermansson, who was a former Cage Warriors middleweight title holder. You had Scott Askren, who's actually the former BAMMA middleweight title holder. So, respectively, at the time when they were in the regional shows, they were the best in their promotion and probably the top 2 middleweights at the time. This, for me, I'm a little bit gutted the 2 of them are fighting each other, especially for Jack Hermansson. It's a hell of a fight to come into the debut because Scott Askren's already.
Welcome to the UFC.
Scott Askren's already, and the reason why I say that is because Scott's already had his debut. He's already had those kind of jitters out of the way. He's got a bit of fluidity. Scott's looking a little bit better each time. His last fight was against Dempsey, who he put away in the first round. And he is long, he's rangy, he's a pain in the ass to deal with. Jack Hermansson, he has got some great striking. His straights, his 1-2s are crisp. He's a little bit awkward to deal with. I think you might see Jack involve his grappling a lot more in this bout, especially against Scott, to keep that distance closed. Tough fight. Really good matchup. I ideally would have liked to see them fight different parties. Scott will want to get out this fight clean because Scott potentially has wanted to fight, who's the other middle? Sam Alvey. He's the only guy he said he'll fight Sam Alvey at UFC 204. This is literally one of them ones. You have to see what happens at the fight to then decide what's going to happen in the future. So yeah, that's a lovely little matchup. I think it's the kind of obvious one to pick. A fight that kind of, for me, kind of sticks out a little bit more that people won't be talking about as much maybe. No, they probably will, but they won't be noticing it much. I'll let you mention a fight which I know you'll probably shout out for, Mike, but I'm going to go for Nicholas Dalby against Peter Sobotta. That's my pick on a fight that I'm looking forward to personally.
Yeah, good pick.
Mike, your view on that fight yourself? How are you looking forward to that fight, bud?
Yeah, Nicholas Dalby, he doesn't do a lot wrong at all. He was unbeaten until his last fight where he lost to... Remind me.
Nicholas Dalby's last fight.
Yeah.
Darren Till was where he had
No. He got a draw against Darren Till, and then he lost his next fight.
Yeah, and he lost quite convincingly as well. Zach Cummings it was.
That's right, yeah. Well, let's be honest, Zach is no mug, Zach
no.
Very good, Yeah. But don't read too much into that. Nicholas Dalby is very, very capable.
It was a decision. It was a decision loss. It was not like he got knocked out or submitted.
No.
Yeah.
It's
well, I think it's the pair of them. Both of them are coming off a loss anyway. So but the thing is, Peter Sabota is a dude who really does excite me as a fighter. He's actually quite a fun fighter to watch. He's very aggressive with his striking combinations. He's actually quite a lovely good bit of grappling himself. I know we got knocked out, finished by Carlo, but his grappling side of things, I think when they were last in Hamburg was when he beat Stephen Kennedy, and it was a lovely submission, rear naked choke, beautiful transitioning. That really excited me about Peter Sabota. Got the combinations, you got the submission game. He looks like a pretty well-rounded fighter already. Nicholas Dalby, he is one of those solid kind of welterweights from the Cage Warriors, and he was the Cage Warriors champ as well. He came up again. It was a tough bout having Darren Till, but he's one of the guys who he's got actually quite good grappling, which you wouldn't think, but he's got, because Europeans aren't deemed to have it. He's actually got surprisingly good grappling. He'll want to keep it standing with his unorthodox strikes. The stance changes, the kind of not obscure combinations, but the unpredictable combinations. I think it's a fight where you're going to see Sabota try to get quite aggressive and close that gap down. Well, Dolby's going to definitely try and use that octagon space to keep it separate, so he can let off his kind of long distance peppering off. But it's a lovely fight. I love this matchup. And what else, Mike, on the prelim card, not main card, prelim card, are you looking forward to?
Okay, there's a girls' fight on there. We always look forward to the girls' fights because I normally always game I
thought I'd leave that for you.
There's not often. It's not often you get a bad girls' fight. Also, there's 10 fights between these girls with only one loss. Ashley Evans-Smith against Veronica Ricardo. Mm-hmm. Have I said that right? I think so. Now, Veronica, she's new to the UFC. She's a late replacement. She might not be known to many of you, but we saw her in an amateur fight and she landed a perfect rounds on Junkie and YouTube and Facebook and all that for a good while. And I think it even showed up on the one of the American shows as a knockout of the week. I just feel this could be a game little fight. This, and it'll be interesting to see how she fares.
It will. Big factor is your standard octagon jitters that kick in. Exactly. Jackie Manson could have it. Veronica certainly could have it. The problem she's having is she's fighting Ashley Evans-Smith, and Ashley Evans-Smith is quite an aggressive fighter. So Ashley's not going to want to be giving her space and time to let her maybe settle in. The best thing to do is to bum rush someone as soon as that happens. Ashley Evans-Smith, she's definitely grown since her bout against Raquel Pennington, where she got that bulldog choked out. She's definitely developed, and she's slowly evolving. I think another one who's slowly evolving again is Becky Rawlins. From if you look at last week, she definitely showed some improvements. I think, for example, I mentioned the problem for Becky Rawlins is she's slowly improving, but the thing is everyone else was already ahead of her. So while they're all improving again, she's just always going to be behind. Ashley Evans-Smith, she's done well in what she's done so far. This fight, theoretically, she should go out and win this fight, and there shouldn't be any question. I fully expect Ashley Evans-Smith to win this fight. Now, Veronica has got some good striking. She has got submission wins, so she could do this. But again, the quality of fighter that they've fought is different, so that makes a big factor. I would probably favour Ashley Evans-Smith over Veronica, even though Veronica's 5-0, only because of the quality of fighters and the stage that it's been at.
I also do wonder if Veronica will actually, if she really is a true bantamweight. She's very small at the weight.
She's short in height. But look, we've got the fight that I quite look forward to then on the prelim card as well. It's just the fact that it's a nice story to it as well. Jimmy Wallhead finally getting a shot at the UFC, which sounds crazy for people in the UK that will know Jimmy Wallhead. He's a guy who's been around the block. He always just kept falling that little bit short at that shot at the UFC. Pick up a loss maybe just as he was about to get there. That's like a foot in, and then he just pick up a loss and it's set him back again. He's finally got that chance to step in. He's fighting though a kid, a German lad in Jesse Ayari, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah, Ayari, I would say. Yeah.
Jesse Ayari. and who's no joke. This kid is no joke. A legitimate fighter, always grown. This kid, he's solid striking. Jimmy Wallhead, though, his hits like a fucking truck. And of late, his striking is just literally quickly it all came together for him. It feels over the past few fights. His striking's come along leaps and bounds. I look forward to getting Jimmy in there, giving him a chance. He's ginger. We're giving it, give him the chance.
Yeah.
I mean, a big difference.
Yeah.
Let's go to the main card, Mike. Okay. Main card, obviously, main event, we'll leave that to last.
Yeah. I was going to say, obviously, you've got Nick Hein. Nick Hein, he's very, very popular in Germany, and for all the right reasons. He comes to fight and just there's no quitting the guy. He just
not just why he's popular in Germany, Mike. He's a TV star. He does everything. He's a TV star as well. It's not.
Yeah. He is like
Sexy Armor.
He's a bit of a star, in Germany. He like GSP was in Canada, and I am in the Isle of Man.
Yeah.
Anyway, but the thing is, he can fight as well. And to be honest, I can see him going stateside maybe after this. He is exciting to watch. He tries to make a fight of it, and I'm a fan of him anyway.
Right. So, what do you make about the fight itself? Sorry, because you're talking about Nick.
Oh right. Well,
tell me about you're thinking about Nick, but there's a guy in a cage he's stepping in with called Tae Hung Bang. It's a bit biased. Can you go on to a bit more of that?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I can see this one staying on its feet. I don't see it going to the ground much.
Why is that?
They've both got the takedown defense is fairly good. On both sides. I just feel that they may elect to keep it standing. I don't know. That's what I think. I think it could be more of a striking battle, this one.
Right. Okay. That's fine. I'll let you off for that much, Mike. That'll do you. I don't want to hurt your brain too much trying to think about people who don't know. So, look, Nick Hein is a decision man. Okay, he's a decision fighter. He's not a guy who's known to go out there and be a knockout specialist. He's just a well-rounded kind of fighter. The problem he has, though, he's very smart. He's very muscle-oriented, quite a lot of thick muscle set, and that takes a lot of energy and output that he puts in the fights to keep up that certain pace that he has. He gets those points clocked over before the rounds are over, before the last round is over. Problem you got, though, with Bang is the name says exactly what this kid does. He cracks and he cracks hard. Like his fight against Johnson in one of the cards, I can't remember which card it was now. Him and Johnson fought, and I tell you what, that fight was insane. I think I fight of the night off the top of my head as well. The dudes just literally beat the shit out of each other. But Bang was cracking really well, really good technique, beautiful hooks. He's got really powerful hooks on him as well. Also, he's got a good submission game and good sweeps and good control on the ground. So he's quick with the reversals. He's very good with what he does there. I look forward to seeing the fighting sense. I think Nick Hein can't, if he wants to try and get a decision, it's not going to be what he wants it to be. It's not going to be as easy as he thinks. Okay, Mike, let's just go to Brian Bader. And
it's a no-brainer. This is another potential fight of the night. I love the main card of this event, but this fight is fantastic matchmaking. That they are very similar in that if anything, half get hurt.
Sorry, Mike. Say that again. You want to speak?
You've got guys, you've got two very strong guys that can both bang, but they both can be vulnerable as well to strikes. They both looked hurt before and been stopped, but both powerful guys. It's a hard one to pick. This probably could be one of the harder ones to pick on the night.
Okay. Well, Latifi's only been stopped by Jan Blachowicz, who's also on the card with a TKO finish. That's the only one and he lost the decision when he stepped in short notice against Gegard Mousasi. So
yeah, we'll give him that. Yeah,
I'd say Latifi's he's not as easy to hit, so to speak, as Ryan Bader is. What you've got here, though, is a fight between two guys. Like Latifi's got quite good grappling, and the reason why he's got a good grappling is because he's got a low base, like a low center of gravity, because he's not the tallest of dudes. So he's only 5'10". So that makes a big difference. He's not that tall, and that really helps with the center of gravity and his base and stuff like that. Ryan Bader, we know, is a legitimate, absolute monster wrestling. Okay, he's an NCAA beast. Latifi, though, he can crack, he can bang, and it's that right hand that's the problem. The sledgehammer, as I call him. Actually, left or right hand. Sorry, I'll rephrase this. He can hit you with both hands. His fluidity, though, for Latifi is not as crisp as Ryan Bader's, right? Latifi is not a crisp striker by any means. Latifi I think he's got a lot of work to do in that side of things. He's very explosive coming forward with his strikes. Ryan Bader is too, but Ryan Bader's worked a lot on his striking, and he's done a lot better since, Latifi's an earlier version of Bader, where he's very tall, very tight, very stiff when he strikes. I'm not saying Bader can't lose. Bader's last fight was against Anthony Johnson. So
we'll give him that. Yeah. We don't count Anthony Johnson fights. We don't include them.
No.
But what I do like about Latifi is he comes out in that first round so ready to go. He doesn't need seconds to get into the fight. He doesn't need a couple of minutes to get into the fight. He's ready to go from that first. From the very first second. He's on you.
And for me is, he took a bit of time off after that Johnson loss. He got knocked out. I'll remind you, Mike, what happened was he went for the takedown on Anthony Johnson, tried to get a Kimura, never going to happen. Anthony Johnson ended up getting mount, smashed him in the face a couple of times and knocked him out. Now, that takes a bit of time to recover from and being knocked out. I like the fact that Ryan Bader didn't rush back in because too many fighters come back too soon after they get finished. He did the smart thing, stepped away, took a bit of time off from competing. And so I like the fact that he'll be more composed and ready. It's about 8 months he's had off since that, so it's a great little move. So yeah, if I'm honest,
sensible.
I logically will pick Ryan Bader, but Latifi could do that one punch. But Ryan Bader for me is getting.
Yeah, I'm going to go for the less. It's not a crazy choice, but I'm going to go for Latifi in this one. I'm going to go for Latifi.
Right. Okay. Let's go for the next fight, Mike. Blachowicz, Gustafsson.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Right. Well, what can't you say? Gus. No, he needs to. Yeah, Gus is the unluckiest, unfortunate guy in the UFC. He's probably won the most rounds in a title fight, and yet not been a champion. Than I know of. He has come so close on 2 occasions against the 2 best light heavyweights probably that we've had in DC and John Jones, and you feel like so unlucky. Again, we won't include the Anthony Johnson fight because Anthony Johnson just snipers people. But yeah, I can't see him losing. It's Alex against anyone else other than those 3 boogeymen. Is winning all the way. I think
this is an ideal tune-up fight for Alexander Gustafsson, Mike. That's what this is. Okay. Yeah. Now, you speak about Gustafsson. Give us a little bit about Blachowicz. Because you said, again, you went like the Nick Hine thing. You talked about Gus. Let's balance it out. Give a bit about Blachowicz. Don't be too biased as much as you want to be.
Don't be too biased. Okay, you've got good accuracy striking. The guy can land, but against Gus, who's his boxing is a very high level in MMA. You know, he can. I believe he was a Golden Gloves champion. So I can't see that. Was he Golden Gloves champion or something like that? I think he was something
Carry
like
on,
that.
Mike. Doesn't matter. Carry on, Mike.
Right. Yeah. But anyway, I just feel that he's not going to have that sort of effective striking against him that he would do against many others. I think he'll sort of come unstuck in that one. Yeah.
Mike, the camera's down. Mike, the camera's down here. If you want to look at us when you're talking, be nice. Called manners.
Yeah. I don't know. I just
Okay,
don't see Gus losing.
Right. Okay.
I don't see Gus.
Awesome. Great. Okay. Okay. Gus's boxing is, yes, it's good. We know this. A good example is the Jimmy Manuwa fight. What you've got to remember is as well, there's a height difference, which is a big factor, which causes range as well. Gus has already got in place a good counter for this height difference. Well, to be fair, it's only a few inches. Like Jan Blachowicz is actually quite tall. It's only a few inches, but it's the range factor that makes a big difference. Jan Blachowicz, though, is in the UFC because he got a fight against Igor Bochanchik and won that fight via decision. Prior to that, he had lost 2 in a row. One was against Jimmy Manuwa, I remember, and it was awful, absolute dog shit. Corey Anderson fight, again, it was woeful. He had one fight against Latifi, which got a win, and I was like, wow, this dude looks legit, absolute killer. And then since then, he's just went down. He's not done anything spectacular. This, in my opinion, might be another chance. If he loses this, I don't know about them keeping him in, because I'm like, he's not doing much to stay in there. Like, a decision win and then a win against Latifi a while back doesn't really constitute me wanting to keep him in. I know the light heavyweight division isn't deep enough at the same time, but for Gus, perfect opportunity. With Blachowicz as well for striking, he needs to have that more aggressive striking out with Latifi rather than with the Jimmy Manuwa fight. I felt that he wasn't being himself. He wasn't trying to open up as much. With Gus, he doesn't have to worry about the takedown attempt. Gus ain't going to be shooting down. Gus is going to want to be circling. He's going to be keeping in range, and he's definitely going to be using that jab. You probably want to aim for maybe get some leg kicks in, get some powerful body kicks in if you can, if you're Blachowicz, just to try and slow Gus down. It's only 3 rounds. Try and slow him down a bit so you can get the strikes in, so you can close that gap to get your shots in. Gus, I feel personally, Gus all the way. I think it's going to be first round finish. That's my honest opinion. Because I think you might see Blachowicz try to try and close the distance too quick, and in doing so, you'll see Gus with some great counter striking to basically put him away. That's how I see this.
I agree most parts. I see it going to the second round because I think he'll probably just try and stay safe a little bit and
right. Main event, Mike. Main event.
Yeah. Super excited for this. It's amazing these guys haven't fought before. They've been around for forever and they haven't fought before. It's crazy because they've been in the same organisations outside the UFC at the same time and still haven't fought. So it's brilliant. I just feel that Andre, who has always been a little bit fragile in the heavyweight division around the chin, I just feel that he's even more fragile now. And Josh can crack a bit, but he can also control the ground game very well. And I just feel that Josh's all-round game just comes into play in this fight an awful lot more. I can see Josh taking him down, controlling him on the ground, and submitting him somehow or another.
I expect that myself. Andre's grappling though is pretty good. He has got pretty good to stop the takedown. Ladies and gentlemen, Andre Arlovski has lost twice this year, and both times he's been finished. I have no idea why they are letting him back in again. I think they should honestly have said to him, just take a little bit longer, come back at the last part of the year. Come back in December, fight in the December card. I think that would have made a lot more sense to give him a bit more time to recover. You can't be a heavyweight, get dropped and rocked by 2 monsters opposite you, and then come back and think you're going to be fine. Because, Josh Barnett can crack. He's not. He can crack, to be fair, but he's not going to be. He's not the same power as Overeem. He's not the same power as Stipe Miocic, but he can crack. He might not need to be able to crack to put Arlovski away, but at the same time, he'll just want to get that clinch and get that grinding feeling down. Because you got to think, Barnett lost his fight to Ben Rothwell, and he got submitted. First time he lost this via submission and tapped out was against Ben Rothwell with that choke. So he'll be frustrated because he looked fantastic against Roy Nelson, did Barnett. Conditioning-wise, he looked fantastic, great shape, and he put on a clinic against Roy Nelson, and he lost. So you saw you beat Roy Nelson, he looked great, and then came to the Ben Rothwell fight, it all went wrong. So both coming off a loss. I ideally as well wouldn't have put this as a main event. I would have this as a co-main event. I would have had Gus and Blachowicz as the main event. Gus, I feel, is just a bigger star name at the moment.
Well, I was going to say, yes, I agree, because with Gus, you see him with a potential of a title fight at any time after this fight.
Well, it's not that, mate. I just think we know Barnett and we know Arlovski as superstars from the day. But, I mean, if you look at 2016, Gus is the star. Gus is the man to look at that card. Yeah. But anyway, that's just a side note. But, yeah, I see Barnett personally getting this win with a submission, getting Arlovski.
And I can see him going for the safer option of trying to go for the takedown as soon as he can. Why throw a risk in there? You know, if Andre's going to win this one, it's going to be due to strikes.
Well, so Arlovski would just
why engage him? You know, he can. Yeah, he can knock out anyone. But I do worry about Andre because now it seems every time he gets hit, now he does a bit of a dance.
Well, let's mold how that. Let's just look at this. He's getting cracked by Stipe Miocic.
Yeah, crackers. It's
knocked out Verdum with one punch. Then he got rocked by Arlovski, who did a crane kick, then cracked him with a left hook. So it's not like he's getting wobbled by people who can't punch. He's getting
no. I know, but
fucking crack hard. So I don't look at it too much like that. I just think that if you're an elite striker, Arlovski's probably ideal because he want to be game to strike. So yeah, anyway, I think Josh Barnett will win that. So that's the UFC Hamburg card. We've had a look at that. Some good fights on it. Surprisingly, some good fights to look at forward to. I'm not overly fussed about the main event, to be fair. It's just a meh heavyweight fight. It's a fight. It should have happened a while back, but it's a fight. It really, on a grand scheme of things, no one's overly, it's not going to rock the world or change the world, whatever happens. So it's just a fight.
Your two picks for fight of the night. Name your two fights tonight.
Fights of the night?
What are the two fights you would say to anyone, don't miss these two from the whole night?
Probably Askren and Hermansson, and then
Bader Latifi?
No, I'd probably say Nicholas Dalby, maybe. I don't know.
I'm going for Bader Latifi. I'd say don't miss that one and ask him against Hermansson.
Yeah, I think ask him Hermansson. Oh, actually, no, Jimmy Manuwa. Not Jimmy Manuwa. So Jimmy Warhead.
Jimmy Warhead.
Warhead actually as well. That dude cracks and brings a good fight. So that's our two fights. But yeah, that's those fights for this week. We'll be back and we'll be talking. We'll either both do the results or not. It depends on the time. And we'll be back to talk more fight news, more fight stuff in the next few days. People still listen out, check it out, and keep an eye out for us all.